Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Alex and I help you fill your home with things and people that you love. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're gonna do a Q1 report. I've seen these all over TikTok and I love them and I would like to start doing them if you would like to see them. An acronym for reading, eating, playing, obsessed, recommending, and treating. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've been here. I'm working on a longer video that's just taking me more time than I thought it would. So I wanted to come in here with something casual, and please let me know if this is something you want to see again. So first up for reading, I've been reading the Armistead Maupin Tales of the City series. This series started as like a newspaper periodical in 1978 that Armistead Maupin wrote in San Francisco. It tells the story of a group of friends who have come from all different places to reside in San Francisco. There's all kinds of different characters, a lot of queer people, and I know what really like made it known is the fact that they all live in the same apartment building, and the landlady, I'm not giving anything away, is a trans woman. And what kind of made that really like, it was really progressive at the time in 1978, and it didn't start out that way. It was like one of the last parts of the first book. What became the first book was this revelation that Mrs. Madrigal is a trans woman. So people were like falling in love with all of these interesting, eclectic characters at a time when there was so much queer hatred and anti-queer sentiment. Seeing this like side, these people who were very normal, did a lot for, it really made a statement. So Armistead Maupin wrote, I think 9 of these. I read the first 3, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. I think when I still lived in Florida. And my partner got me all 9 of them for my birthday a couple years ago. So I have been slowly reading through them. Well, not so slowly. They're really easy and quick to read. I think that they're a little silly and they're very like of the moment. The references, the storylines, the plots. There's a whole like Jim Jones and the People's Temple subplot in I think the second book. But because they were written like as newspaper periodicals, the chapters are really short and they're constantly changing perspective. So it's really quick and easy to read. If you are looking for something that is a part of queer history and something just like really kind of fun and silly and throwaway, highly recommend the Tales of the City book series, and then watch, what's the documentary called? Then watch The Untold Tales of Armistead Maupin. That's on Netflix. It's a really great documentary about the author himself and the kind of outsized role that these books took on compared to what he was expecting when he first wrote them. So that's what I've been reading in Q1. I'm on the 6th book right now, and then there's 7, 8, 9 after I finish this. Next, for my favorite section, what have I been eating? Now, I was in New York a couple weeks ago. I posted a lot of things on my Instagram and TikTok about the trip, but 2 of the best things that I had there are bites that I like cannot stop thinking about. The first one was the corn cake from Radio Bakery. I have heard a lot about Radio Bakery before I went there. My best friend knew that she wanted to visit it because we were staying in Greenpoint. And I had seen people talk about they have an Earl Grey morning bun. I saw people talk about their focaccia sandwiches. I saw people talk about their chocolate croissants. But when I went in, I like completely blacked out, and the employee was an incredible saleswoman. She was like, oh, well, you should really try this, and you should try this, and you should get one of these. I did some damage in there, and she added like kind of half, in passing, she was like, oh, you really should get one of the corn cakes. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. When I tell you, hi, kitty. When I tell you this corn cake is one of the best things that I have ever made or ever eaten, it is like, it's got a crunchy outer shell, sugar on top. It's dense, but melt in your mouth like kind of cornbread texture, but softer. It was incredible. I wish I had gotten a full one for each of us rather than one to share 4 ways. There's a copycat recipe for them in the New York Times that I will be making in the near future, but it's a little bit labor intensive. So that is on the docket. If you can get yourself to Radio Bakery, do not sleep on the corn cake. It is one of the best things you will eat. If you're not going to New York anytime soon, get the recipe from the New York Times and make it yourself. It's a process, but you will not be disappointed. It was incredible. The second best thing we had on that trip was at a restaurant called Hexter's, Hoexters, on the Upper East Side. My friend and her sister live right by it. And they said that they had gone, like, I think this was their 5th time since January going. So I was like, okay, this is a really good place. We ordered a bunch of sides and nibbles and things and shared everything. But the gorgonzola garlic bread, it was served in like a cast iron skillet bubbling with this like liquidy, cheesy, garlicky sauce. Beautifully soft baguette or French bread. It was hands down the best garlic bread that I've ever had. I'm not usually like a gorgonzola blue cheesy kind of person, but it was so mild in this application. It paired so well. It was so delightfully creamy. If you've seen any of those like new Japanese burgers where the burger is served like cut side down in a bubbling pool of cheese sauce, that is what this garlic bread felt like. It was pieces of garlic bread stood up like in a line in a swimming, bubbling pool of cheese sauce. It was so delicious. I will be recreating that too. The next thing that I've been loving eating are freezer breakfast sandwiches. I put the recipe for mine on my Instagram and Substack. I'll have it linked down below. But I am trying something new. This isn't that new or revolutionary. It's just something that I haven't done before. There are like certain things that I consistently crave. Mexican food, specifically like a Chipotle style burrito bowl. I know that's not exactly Mexican food, but it's like whatever. So a Chipotle style burrito bowl, I am craving constantly. I could always go for one of those. A breakfast sandwich or a breakfast burrito, anything like buffalo chicken or Caesar salad. I'm trying to stock my freezer with these things that I constantly crave so that I'm not always going to take out. So before I went to New York, I made some freezer breakfast sandwiches for my partner to have while I was gone and for me to eat when I got back. They were so good. I can be a little weird. I mean, I don't think it's just me, but reheated eggs can sometimes get weird and spongy and rubbery. These did not have that problem. I baked the eggs along with cottage cheese and some egg whites because we had some that needed to be used up in the fridge. I tossed in a whole bunch of scallions and spinach. They are really, I think all of that added moisture helped the eggs from getting too rubbery. And they reheat beautifully. I had a chicken maple sausage that went on them too, cheddar cheese on a homemade English muffin. They're delicious. Are they as good as fresh homemade? No. But they are better than the options that I was like going for when I wanted a breakfast sandwich and would pay like $12 for a mediocre one from the coffee shop down the street. I'll have my recipe for those linked down below if you want to try them for yourself. The other things that I've been eating are I got 2 new cookbooks this quarter. And they are not, I love collecting cookbooks, especially from like people that I love and respect online. I love supporting them in that way. This first one is from one of my favorite online baking resources and one that my mom sent me. It is King Arthur, the Book of Pizza. This is a substantial book. It is like, sausage and vodka sauce. But whatever. There are so many. I mean, it's like 300 pages of pizza recipes. And I already love making homemade pizza. I love taking my focaccia dough, turning it into like a sheet pan, almost Detroit style pizza. So good, so easy. A great way to use up random bits of vegetables in your fridge. I usually make homemade pizza like every other week when I need to do like a veggie clean out. But I am excited to dive deeper into this book and explore some other ways of making pizza at home. And I mean, I love King Arthur products anyway. I love their recipes. I think that they are incredibly well tested and well developed and well explained. So I am really excited to check out this book a bit more. If you also want to check out if you also want to up your homemade pizza game, check this out. If you want to keep it really simple but delicious like I do, I'll have my focaccia pizza recipe down below for you to check out. The other cookbook that I have been loving cooking and eating from is A Little Bit Extra by Riley Meehan. I was lucky enough to go to his cookbook launch party while I was in New York. Got to meet him, hang out with him a bit, meet a lot of other food creators that I interact with online but have never met in person, and it was a really great and fun event. Now these recipes are like the title suggests, a little bit extra. There are, some quicker recipes, but they are meant to be, a labor of love, something that you are putting a little bit of extra time and energy into for those you love and care for, including yourself. And I am very excited to continue cooking from this book. I made his red wine lamb meatballs a couple weeks ago. They were stellar. They were so good, so light and fluffy, with a really rich, deeply flavored tomato sauce. Highly recommend checking this book out as well. A Little Bit Extra, Riley Meehan. Next, we have P for Playing. When I was in New York, I'm sorry, I hope I will stop saying that. When I was in New York, we went into this little shop called Big Night that had like everything you could ever want for a dinner party. They had fun ingredients and candles and fresh cheeses and charcuterie and like servingware and dishes and fun glasses and some sets of conversation cards. And one that I picked up that I'm really excited about they're called Candid cards. They are a deck of regular playing cards, so you can play card games with them, but each card has a conversation question on it. So like this 8 of spades says, if you have to keep yourself up on a night drive, what music do you put on and why? I think that these are just a really fun thing for me to have on hand. The employee, while we were checking out, said that a woman had just bought a set to bring on a first date, which I think is so fun too. We played War with these. My friends and I played War with these while we were hanging out in bars or restaurants waiting for our food. War is a really easy game. My grandma taught me how to play it all growing up. So you've got a deck of cards, you flip over your top card, and whoever has the highest card wins that round. And the goal is to collect all of the cards by the end of the game. But what we would do is we would answer whatever that highest numbered card was. That was the question that we would answer. I think it's a really fun thing to play with friends, to play at a bar, to play when conversations are starting to lull. I'm gonna have these in my little bag that I carry around with me, because you never know when you might need to pull out some conversation playing cards. The other two things that I've been playing a lot are music, specifically albums. I have been listening to Robin's Sexistential album and Slater's Worst Girl in America album almost exclusively since they came out. They are very different, but both so good and so interesting. I think that Slater is really I've been a fan for 5 or 6 years at this point. And seeing the evolution of her music and how highly produced Worst Girl in America is it's good. It's some good music, and I love listening to it. It gets me pumped up. Crank, of course. Beat Up Chanel's St. Loser. Gas Station is a really sweet and not sweet, but sad and endearing song. Big fan of that. Also big fan of Robin's Sexistential album. I am so down for anybody, especially a 46-year-old gorgeous single woman with kids talking about how horny she is. Like, I love that. That is my vibe. I love people exploring their sexuality and sensuality, especially in music. I'm very excited to see Robin when she's in Chicago in September. So those are two things that I have been playing that I suggest you play too. Obsessed. There are two things that I have been obsessed with this quarter. So when January came around, I told myself, even though it was frigid in Chicago, I wanted to go on a walk every day at lunch. Even if I just got up from my desk and went around the block, I wanted to take that break. And specifically take that break without music, without headphones. I wanted it to be an analog walk. And I know that's nothing revolutionary. I know there's so many people who do these analog walks and talk about the benefits of them, but they are something that have like really helped clear my mind and help me like avoid that midday slump of just like anxiety, but also like can't do anything and just paralysis that I can sometimes feel in the afternoon. Just something as simple as taking a 20-minute walk outside, getting some fresh air, not listening to music while I'm doing it has done a lot to really like clear my mind. And I fell off them for a little bit when I lost my job, but I'm getting back into that, and it was really helpful, like getting through that period. Just realizing that I was like, okay, you're not doing anything productive. Your brain is really full right now. Let's take a little walk through the park and come back and regroup. So I'm obsessed with that. Also obsessed, this is the last time I'll talk about my trip to New York, but we went to this art cafe called Happy Medium. It is set up like a little restaurant or a cafe. You walk in, you get seated, they bring you menus, and each menu item is a different craft or art activity that you can do. They have watercolors, they have, I did oil pastels, they have soft pastels, they have collaging, they have air dry clay, they have like, you can get different pieces of pottery to paint. I loved that. The four of us went, three of us did the soft pastels and one person did watercolors. But I think it was such a fun and unique way to frame crafting and frame being artistic and like, again, put the phone down for a bit, even though I was looking at mine for some inspiration. And I want to do something similar in my home. I want to host an art cafe. I'm thinking of what activities would be the easiest. I think doing a collage night would be the easiest for me to like gather materials for, have materials for people. It would have the lowest barrier to entry. But these are some of my oil pastels. They started off kind of rough. I was insistent on doing some tulips in a vase, which I have sitting next to me right now, funny enough. This was one of my favorites, these little olives, even though I don't really like olives. Where's the... Oh yeah, that one was another one of my favorites, the little tulips in that vase. I think I'm going to frame a couple of them to put in the bathroom because I want to add some art in there. And like, bathroom, you don't want to put like really, really nice things in a bathroom, especially with the shower because of the moisture. But I don't really care what happens to those. If they start to like wilt or dry or, melt, that is A-okay. They're nothing special, but it was a really fun activity. If you're in New York or if you could find an art cafe near you, love the idea. Also love the idea of hosting your own kind of art cafe. So I will be doing that. I will document the process when it comes up. It was a great activity, especially because it was we did it on Easter Day and it was rainy and dreary. So it was and the vibes in there were so cozy. It was a really great way to spend that rainy afternoon. R for recommending. I have two podcasts that I love that hopefully you have heard of. The first one is a little bit fruity. It is hosted by Matt Bernstein, and they dive into a lot of pop culture politics on their podcast. Not just like regurgitating facts or like gossipy, but like the last episode I listened to, the last one that came out was about Chappell Roan and all of the like forced controversy that she has been in lately. And looking at that through like a historical political lens, looking at the similarities between that and the smear campaign against Amber Heard and the smear campaign against Blake Lively by Justin Baldoni. Really, really interesting, engaging podcast to get some really interesting guests on it too. Highly recommend listening to A Bit Fruity if you don't yet. It is just like a really great combination of pop culture, politics, history, all of those things wrapped up in one. Another similar one to that is Maintenance Phase. They are more specific like to dieting and food and the trends that have come and gone. They go through a lot of like, or at least have gone through a lot of like diet books and talk about those. They most recently did a two episode series on Russell Brand's books, which was very interesting and eye-opening and also like infuriating to see this man that has been propped up, this grifter that has been propped up by both the left and the right, and like seeing how people are so easy to like really stand for nothing and are so easy to just like follow a paycheck, really. Fascinating podcast. Love Aubrey Gordon. I've read a few of her books. Highly recommend adding both of those into your listening if you don't listen to either of them yet. The last thing is treating, and I talked a lot about the food that I've really been enjoying, but something that I made this week that I really loved was this, you know, have you seen the trends kind of died down now, but that Japanese cheesecake yogurt trend where people were just sticking like Biscoff cookies into yogurt. I did a variation of that, but a banana pudding yogurt. I saw Inga Lamb make it in one of her recent YouTube videos, and I was like, I need to try that. So I took a carton of vanilla Greek yogurt, added a packet of instant banana pudding mix to that, and then layered that in a little baking dish with chopped banana and Nilla wafers. It was really, really good. A great dessert option that feels like that's a little bit more healthful. It's a nice thing for me to have during the week when I just want like a sweet afternoon pick-me-up or a little bit of dessert. It does not taste like banana pudding. It's more like a banana cheesecake. Because you do get those like tangy yogurt vibes in them. But that gave me a lot of ideas for like other flavors I want to try. I'd like to do a chocolate and peanut butter one. I think that would be delicious. Maybe like a strawberry pudding yogurt thing. Key lime I think would be really good too if there is like a key lime instant pudding mix. I'm going to have by the time this goes up, I will have posted my recipe for that on Instagram, so I will have that linked down below. But that is it. That is my Q1 report. What are you reading, eating, playing, obsessed over, recommending, or treating this month? What is like, did any of these sound really good to you? Did anything sound really bad? Let me know down below. Also, let me know if you'd like to see another video like this, just like a chatty, sit down, casual video. If you want to see a Q2 report, let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up so that it can be pushed out to other cool people like you. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!